Hi. Okay, let's do the stuff on the calculator that we need for chapter 1 from Edexcel Year 1 Pearson's textbook. So the topics in this chapter, I think it's called Algebraic Expressions. The chapter topics are indices and surds, basically, both of which we'll have done at GCSE. But there's not a lot on here, and it's very similar to what you've probably seen before on the calculator that you'll have used at GCSE, but let's just go through it. The calculator this time is not a real life calculator, it's an emulator that I'm using on ClassPad Math. So let's see how we get on with this. I want it to be really clear what I'm pressing, so I will try and say what I'm doing, but I'm seeing if this is clearer. Let's see. So really basic. Let's say we want to do something like 5 squared. So first of all, we'll make sure we're in the right app. So we go to home. We use the things, we were in the right app, but we want to be in the calculate app. So we use the arrows to get there if we're not already there, the cursors, and press OK or press execute. I've got a clear screen. Remember, if you want to clear your screen, if you click Tools, which is here on the right hand side near the top right, the 3 little dots, click that, and then come down to delete all or delete line, whatever. So use the cursors to go up and down to where you want to get to, and then once you're on delete all, you can press number 3 because of the thing having a 3 next to it, or you can just click OK once you're there and it will double check. Do you really want to delete all? Yes, I do. So click OK. All right. So let's say I want to do something like 5 squared. No, let's do 5 squared, right? So we're going to do 5, so press 5. And then the square button is in the right hand region. It's this little square here with a little 2 in the top right hand corner of it, right? Like a power would be underneath the catalogue button. So click that and it will square whatever you've already put there. Press execute and it gives you an answer. I don't know what happens if you press OK. Let's try 5 squared, OK. It works as well. So OK and execute basically both are fine for doing the things. Okay, so sorry, distraction. Right, let's do something more complicated because obviously you're not going to be dealing with just indices like that. I mean, there is going to be lots of indices stuff in this chapter that you can't use on the calculator, right? There's going to be lots of indices with algebra, like x squared times x to the power of -1/4 or something, right? And you can't do that on the calculator. There's things in it you could do on the calculator, but the indices stuff you can't. Let's say we want to do 9, so 9 to the power of, and we're going to do 9 to the power of, let's say 3, right? So I don't want to click on the one I just used because that was just squared. So I'm going to go to the button to the left of that, underneath the down cursor. Click that, and then it will give me a space to put an indice in there. So I'm going to click 3. So that will do 9 cubed for me. That's a pretty big number, right? Let's do 9 again as the base. Let's have our power being, let's have a negative power, a negative fraction, right? Which again, you've done at GCSE. So I click the same button as I did before, the one to the left of the square button, underneath the down cursor above tan here. Click that, and then we're going to do -2/3. No, -3/2. What did I say? -3/2. You can press the subtraction button, but like we shouldn't, but it will work. So if you really, we should click the negative button, which we get by pressing Shift and then the takeaway and subtraction. And then what did I say? I've forgotten already. 3/2. So then I've pressed 3. Then I'm going to press the fraction button, which is underneath alpha, above sine. You can see the little hand hovering over it, 3/2. Okay, so I'll just run through that. Well, I'll press execute, but I'll run it through again. So execute, done. Oh, it comes up as not a very nice decimal. I think that that's a nice number. So I'm going to click format and see if it changes it to a fraction. Yeah, so 1/27. All right. By the way, in an exam, you would probably have to show that. Maybe that might be more than 1 mark. So you might have to run through the stages of why it's 1/27. So you can't just be like, oh, great, the calculator does it for me. Because unlike GCSE maths, you get a calculator for all of your exams for A-level maths. So sometimes they'll expect you to show things, and you'll see written above specific questions something along the lines of, you know, I can't remember how it's worded now. You must show your method, and methods relying solely on calculator use will not be awarded full marks, something like that. That's not at all exactly what it is, but okay. So I'll just run that through again. So press 9, then I'm going to make a power by clicking the button above tan next to the square button here. Click that, and then I'm going to do negative. So just to run through where the negative sign is shift, which is the turquoise blue button in the top left corner near alpha and settings and on over there, and then the subtraction button, and that gives me the negative. And then to make a fraction, so I'm going to do 3/2. You can create the fraction first. Let me show you that. So you can click the fraction and then put 3, and then you have to, it's a pain because then you have to go down to get to the 2. So I just prefer to do 3/2, and then it pops it in for me with less work. Execute and format. Okay. That's kind of it really for indices. Like I said, there are lots of other indices things you're going to have to do that the calculator can't really help you with. So let's talk about surds. I mean, to start off, let's just find where the square root sign is. So the square root symbol is next to the fraction button, on the right of the fraction button, above cos, to the left of the other indice button we were just using. So it's right in the middle, slightly above in the middle. So I think I pressed that first, yeah, and then it will give me a box to say, what do you want to put inside here? So let's do √3. Okay, nice surd. If I press execute, it will keep it as √3. If I wanted to know the decimal, unlikely, but I would press format and it will turn that into a decimal for me. Obviously it's a truncated decimal because the decimal will go on and on forever. That's probably not the right way to say it, but you know what I mean. Right. Again, there are more complicated things you could get. Things like rationalizing the denominator. So you could have an irrational fraction, so something like 1/√3. So I've typed 1, then I've clicked the fraction button. Again, you could put the fraction in there first and then do it. This is my preferred way. So 1, fraction button, remember, is underneath the alpha above the sign. And then the square root button, which is to the right of the fraction button, and then 3. And it will rationalize it for me. All right, so you would have to show in an exam. If it was something not where you weren't focusing on the question being to do with surds, you wouldn't need to show it. But if it was a specific question about surds, you would need to show what the maths that you had done to get there. This is just a lot of the thing that's so great about the calculator for A-level maths now is that you can check what you've done. So you might have done some maths and be like, you're in an exam. Oh, hang on a minute, is that right? And you know, you want to be really sure in an exam that what you're doing is completely correct, even though in normal life you'd be like, oh, I know that that's correct. You can just check. So you just chuck that in the calculator and you're like, oh yeah, √3/3. Great. Move on with my day knowing I've done it correct. So that, what else was I going to show you? Let's do a more complicated rationalizing a denominator just to practice, right? Because we can. So 1, oh, that probably should be more interesting than 1, but never mind. Over, let's do brackets. So I'm doing 1/, I'm going to create a big old surd on the bottom with some brackets and things. So bracket is to the right of tan, near the delete button, underneath the square button, over here in the right hand side in the middle. Okay, I'm swirling around it, so hopefully you can see. So open the bracket, let's do √3. So root first, then 3. Now, I want to do √3 plus 2. Okay, let's do that, √3 plus 2. Do I? Yeah, √3 plus 2. if I press plus now, let me show you, if I press plus now, it will be within the surd. So if you can see it here very clearly in the screen, on the middle screen, that the square root is, the thing I'm going to do is still inside the square root, and I don't want that. So the way you avoid that is after you've typed the 3, you click the right cursor button, and it just brings you away from the surd. Then I'll press plus, and that plus is now not inside the square root. What did I say I was going to do? Did I say +1? I want to do +2. I can't remember what I said. +2, close the bracket, and then I'm actually going to square it just for funsies. Right? So 1 over √3 + 2 all squared. Again, you would have to show the method that you did to do that. That's a tricky one. But yeah, but you could then come here and check it. Execute. Lovely. Okay, so 7 minus 4 √3. It's not even a fraction anymore. Wow, made that off the top of my head. That came out good. All right. I was about to say, any questions? You can't ask me if you have any questions. I mean, you can ask me. That's probably enough, right? I would say there's not many other things you can do with surds there. Oh no, I know. Let's talk about how you do, like a cube root. Okay, so the cube root we get by doing you can see on the square root button in the top left hand corner in the turquoise is how we get the cube root. So to get that, I'm going to press shift and then that button, and then it gives me 2 little boxes that I can fill in. So I've got the box that will tell me if it's going to be a cube root or a 4th root or whatever. So I mean, you can do square root there as well, but what's the point? You've already got the button for that. So if I put 3, let's do the cube root of, so to get inside the surd, the root, I use the cursor. Okay, I'll do it again for you in a minute. So let's do cube root of 2, execute. So it gives it to me as a decimal because it's like, well, why else would you be typing it in? But it will put, oh no, it won't. If I format it, it won't go back as cube root of 2. Interesting. I remember the other calculator used to do that too. I don't know, it's a calculator thing. Sometimes I wonder with these things, well, why they made these things do these things. But anyway, let me just run through that again. So I'm going to press shift and then the surd button, which is above cos. And then I'm going to put a 3 first. You can see the little cursor flashing, the little black line flashing in the small box there. So that means I make a cube root. Then I use the right hand cursor to pop inside the square root, and I can put, let's do something else. So I mean, if I do the cube root of something that cube roots, it's going to give me a nice number, but I wonder what happens if I do no, I just wondered if there were any that would come out nice. Let's try the cube root of 8. Oh, cube root of 8 is 2. Let's try it. I should have known that, sorry. I'm sure my head had something in it. It had something in it. Cube root of 16. Yeah, it's still not nice. Okay, it's obviously not going to give, it does, I remember the other calculator did that, doesn't love to give you surds. I mean, we're lucky. Let's scooch up here. Let's use these up and down buttons we learned about. So these ones on the top right, which to me, they seem rather pointless, but that will scooch me up a bit. We're lucky that we had that doing nice surd stuff for us there. Sorry, this one here coming out nice. Beggars can't be choosers, right? Anyway, okay, cool. That's about it for chapter 1. Next chapter is, what is the next chapter? Quadratics. Okay, so there's a lot in there. All right then, I hope that was helpful. See you later.